Welcome. Today's going to be an incredible Sunday because we get to hear so many amazing testimonies. Our team that went to missions in Malawi just got back on Wednesday. Come on. Yes, welcome back. We are so glad that you went to represent the Image Church. And I kept following them, kept watching the work that they were doing, and I was just, sitting there as a friend, as a pastor, and it felt like, Jesus, thank you that I am here, but they can be there representing us and doing all the work, and it just felt so great. From the very beginning, when we just first planted the Image Church, literally with a handful of teenagers in our home, the first thing we did, we took on the missions. We said, we want to make sure that we are the church that has heart for the missions, local missions and missions across the world. And the very first mission we took on was orphanages in India. And for almost 18 years, and some of you are still continuing to support, we have supported children in India, and that was something that God laid on our heart. And I know some of you are still carrying that mission. We're so excited. And then later on, we sent a team to Brazil, and Margarita's dad was leading it at that time. And it was really cool. They came back with all the testimonies of all the things that were done. And then I was watching Long Arm Malawi, and I was watching for years what the work they were doing. And I couldn't believe how much work was done. And as I followed them, I was like, how is this possible? They're bringing water, they're going to jail and bringing sewing machines to women that when they get out of jail, they're actually able to have a trade. They can feed themselves. And they're bringing bicycles for the widows and mothers. And when I was watching everything they're doing, eventually, the whole time I was like, we need to partner. And eventually, 2 years into it, I reached out and I said, every time I see what you're doing is incredible. How are you able to get so much done? And she says, because dollar for dollar, every dollar donated goes straight into the missions. She says, we have no overhead cost at all. She says, my husband and I, we have our own business, we have gym, and we hustle, and we actually raise money. The gym raises money so they can go and support missions in Malawi. And so at that time, we came to Image Church. We're like, we got to take this on. We love what they're doing. And so our team, we supported missions last year in Malawi, but our team wasn't able to join. And so this is the first year that our team was actually able to go and be a part of it. So buckle up, we get to hear all the wonderful stories, see the photos and some videos as they're going to be sharing with us. There's 4 of them that went, and they're just going to be taking turns just sharing what was special to them, what stood out, how did God use them in a way that they didn't think was possible, and what are some of the things that just truly was an awe moment, and I will never be the same again going to Malawi. Stephen, you're the very first one who's going to start. Welcome back.
Thank you, Pastor Vita. Wow. Can we do something just kind of fun to start off with? Is that okay? Pastor John's nodding his head, but he has no idea what I'm about to do. It's the 5th of July. Can I just say, first of all, before we do this, Image Church, I look out across this room and I see my family. And I love that this church is so culturally diverse. That's part of what drew us to this church. Pastor John was saying a few minutes ago that, look around. When we're in heaven, we're going to see our brothers and sisters from, I don't even know how many countries we have represented here, dozens anyway. We're going to see our brothers and sisters around us at the throne. And part of what I want to touch on today is just to kind of frame this conversation about Malawi, because we have brothers and sisters in Malawi as well, not just those in this room. And we're going to be with them as well. So before I get into kind of my stories, I just want to say thank you to all of you. My wife and I support missions and have for years. I know many of you support missions as well in this church. And even if you're not the one going, the work that you're doing, supporting missions financially and in prayer and other ways, it really is making a difference in the world. And so I just want to thank you for your generosity. And with that, I'm also going to issue a challenge this morning. Buckle up. So just to kind of frame this conversation, I mean, first of all, we sent out the team, those of you that were here 3 weeks ago, and if you recall, I was not on the team at that point. And I had been feeling for a while that, hey, I really want to go on this trip. I really feel like the Lord's leading me to do this. But there was just no way that I could get away with our business and family and everything that was going on. And literally God arranged all the things that needed to happen for me to be able to go. And so that send-off Sunday, I talked to Pastor Alex and Vika, and they got in touch with Nelia, and we booked flights the next day, and like it just all came together, and I was on a plane, not even 2 weeks, 8 days later. So I just want to encourage you that you didn't go this time, that's fine. Listen to God's voice and see if maybe you want to go next time. It's just, this will change your life. It really is not much actually about the work that we do on these trips. We really didn't accomplish much, I can tell you. Okay, we did accomplish some things, but that's not really what it's about. At least as much, it's about what God does in the people that go and what God does through the people that go when they come back to the team, to the body that sent them. So just to frame this conversation, the country of Malawi, the average income in Malawi is like $600 a year. Just let that sink in for a second. Think about that. Think about what your life would be like if you earned $600 a year. And you might say, well, yeah, but everything's cheaper in Malawi, and you'd be right. Income adjusted, it works out to be about $1,500 a year. So let's think about that then. What would your life look like if you earned $1,500 a year? You probably wouldn't own a house. You definitely wouldn't own a car. If you had a shelter, it would be maybe you live in a tent. You probably can't afford to eat every day. You definitely don't have medical care. Right? It's think about all the things in your life that you just kind of take for granted, and the people in Malawi, for the most part, don't have any of these things. And one of the things I wanted to share this morning is I had this moment as we were driving through the refugee camp. We were in like this 15-passenger van, and you wouldn't believe the roads in this place. I mean, just literally getting thrown around the van. No seatbelts, of course. Oh, did I miss it? Was it the previous one? Oh, okay. Anyway, you're just literally getting thrown around. But as we were driving through these awful roads in the refugee camp, we were listening to the song, Goodness of God. All my life you've been faithful. All my life you've been so, so good. With every breath that I'm able, I'm going to sing of the goodness of God. And I felt the Holy Spirit say to me, look around you. If you were living in this environment and this is your daily reality, would you still sing of my goodness? Would you still sing of my goodness with every breath that you had? That was a hard word. I don't know the answer to that. Would you still sing in my goodness if you were living in a house that didn't have 4 walls or a roof? Would you still sing of my goodness if you maybe got to eat 1 meal a day and it was the same thing that you've had for the last 3 weeks? Would you still sing of my goodness if your children were starving? And as a father, you aren't able to provide for them? Why am I not in that situation standing up here today? Why are they in that situation? It's because of where I was born, because of where they were born, and no other reason. So, Pastor John said he doesn't like talking about money, and I'm not going to talk about money anymore, but I do just want to say this one thing. The wealth that's represented in this room is approximately the same wealth that over 1 million Malawians have. There are, 200 of us in this room? And Nelia and the work that Long Arm Ministry is doing, part of why they're able to be so effective and have such a big impact is, yes, they don't have overhead, but also money goes so far in the nation of Malawi because everybody's so poor, because the needs are so desperate, that even just something as basic as giving them clean water gives their children a chance to grow up past the age of 5. Gives the women and girls the chance to get an education because they're not running back and forth for hours a day getting water. So I just want to challenge all of us, and I was certainly challenged. And so what my role now is as somebody who went on this trip and came back is I'm now an ambassador. And that's really a lot of the value in going on these trips is you become an ambassador for people that have no voice. And so even a little bit can make a huge difference. I want to tell you guys one story about what the Lord did, kind of a divine appointment, if you will, that I experienced on this trip. And I'm going to read from my journal, if that's okay. Saturday afternoon, we attended the graduation ceremony for the youth at the primary and secondary school in Vika refugee camp. So this is the primary refugee. It was the only refugee camp in Malawi. The camp was designed to hold about 10 to 12,000 people. There are currently 52,000 people living in the camp. 93% of them are women and children. And of that 93%, so 45,000 or so women and children, there are literally thousands of orphans that are just surviving. There's nobody taking care of them. They're just surviving. The school is run so also I want to say primary and secondary school, for those of you that are not familiar with international school setup, that would be elementary and high school. Okay. So the school is run alongside the church by the pastor, who is himself a refugee from Congo. So you have this group of people living in this refugee camp from about 6 different countries, and many of them have fled civil war. Many of them have had, almost all of them really, have had family members killed, and they fled their home countries and are now living as refugees. The youth that were graduating are far older than would traditionally be the case for these academic milestones because of the hardships they'd endured as younger children. Many of them fled bloody conflict in Congo and elsewhere. Everyone had a story. Some were orphans. Others thought they were orphans when they fled to Malawi, but found a living family member, a sibling, an aunt, in some cases a parent, that they thought must have died in the conflict. Some arrived and confirmed what they already believed to be true, that they were in fact orphans with no known living relatives. As part of the ceremony, some of the youth performed a song or a dance or a similar presentation. One of the secondary school graduates performed a dramatized reading of a poem that he wrote. It was one of the most powerful things I've ever seen. He spoke of the trauma that he endured as a child and his longing for a united Africa where people from every tribe and nation would call each other brother and sister. I found out after the ceremony that he had been one of the 4 graduates taken in by the pastor and mentored over several years. All 4 were orphans when they were taken into his home. And now that they're graduating from high school or secondary school, they're trying to go to university in Malawi. So again, a lot of these kids are quite a bit older. So these 4 ranged from ages 19 to 28. After hearing this, I knew I wanted to help support this dream for this young man that had performed this poem. I learned from the pastor that Malawi university fees are only $2,600 a year, including all living expenses and supplies. That works out to $217 a month to send somebody to university. And this is what I was trying to say a few minutes ago. What we would consider a relatively small amount of money here just absolutely can change somebody's life. This is a precious gift that I can give to this young man that will multiply his impact into the refugee community. He could never afford it on his own. This amount is roughly 4 times the average household income in Malawi, especially for refugees that aren't allowed to travel or work outside the refugee camp. It's simply impossible for this young man to do this on his own. And that's why we need each other in the body, right? There are certain situations where God plants a dream in our hearts, and then he uses someone else in the body to help fulfill that dream. You are the answer to somebody's prayer today. I'm going to say that again. You are the answer to somebody's prayer today. I knew I couldn't look away. I will make sure this young man gets an education. And after resolving this, I learned the young man's name. I have one living brother in this world. His name's Gavin. Guess what that young man's name was? So Gavin is the one with the colorful flowers, second from the right, the tall one. So different people are going to come up and share their stories. But again, I just want to thank you for your generosity. There's so much that I could have said about this trip. This was absolutely life-changing for so many people. I will say, I've been in a lot of resource-poor environments. I've been to Haiti. I've been to Rwanda. I've been to Bolivia. I've been to a lot of these environments where people have very little. This was the most difficult environment that I've seen from a from a resource standpoint. These people are very, very, very poor. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening.
I think we can go home after that and be encouraged already. Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah, our approach is going to be a little different. I'm going to go off of videos, if we have that ready. We'll just be going over them, and I'll just have some commentary on that. So as soon as you're ready, let's throw them up. We're done here. This building that they are refurbishing is for the babies and the toddlers, because they ran out of space elsewhere. There you see Stephen working hard. Bam. All right.
We just started there. This is much harder than it looks.
Nice and safe and clean.
It's plastering the walls so they're not as, they're not going to scratch you up, beat you up. It keeps the house cooler, so it's very needed. But this is one of the houses there. This one's not in the worst condition, actually. It's pretty decent. But they're going to make it better. We're going to get tile installed, and it's going to become a house for the babies and the toddlers because they ran out of space for them.
We'll see if we have time to help
So
with that.
that was one of the earlier things we did at the orphanage.
But yeah, the process all starts out here.
Everyone participates.
All homemade goods right here. And then Matt helped out quite a bit.
Matt was helping earlier, and then the kids took over because they did a better job. All the locals did a way better job than us
All
at
being
this.
done for this little guy. Let's go.
He's dancing.
Let's go.
That little boy actually has HIV, and if he stays in that orphanage, he's gonna die. He doesn't have much longer, so he's actually in the process of hopefully getting adopted by one of the ladies, and it will truly take a miracle if it happens, because there's just some circumstances. So be praying for that if you think of that little boy. But he was so sweet. He's so he doesn't retain nutrition, and he's this tiny little thing. But all the kids were dancing, and he's like dancing in my arms, and it was just the sweetest little thing. But to speak on the orphanage. Currently, they have 112 kids that they fully support and take care of. That means clothing them. That means, that's all the kiddos. That clothing them, feeding them 3 times a day, which is unreal because most people in that village don't maybe eat once a day, not even. So they fully support the staff that works at this orphanage full time. It's truly, like Stephen said, the dollar goes so far. It only takes $30 a month per kid to support a child in this orphanage. So it's truly remarkable, and it was so sweet to just hang out with them. And I think one of the things that was my mission, because it's so hard to see, it's hard to be there, and because it's very overwhelming. There's hundreds of kids, and every village we would go to, there's hundreds of kids. So it's hard, it's easy to kind of just see so many kids and overlook and kind of be overwhelmed by the need and by the amount. So my mission was to look these kids in the eye and to truly see you are valuable, you are seen, you are made in the image of God just like I am. So my goal was to find one baby and just hold them so that they would feel loved and seen and know that they are valued and cared for. So I don't have the pictures here, but I'll post them.
Yeah, we'll get to it. But yeah, at the same time, these kids are so full of joy. They're so pure, so just bursting with joy. I got the next video, I think, is the right one. Yeah, this right here. Just check it out. You got to turn it up.
Woo! Let's go.
Yeah, twerking is a thing,
all
guys.
dance like that.
They all twerk. Love it, y'all. And it's not just for the camera. These kids, like, anytime you give them any little attention, they're all dancing and laughing and cheering. Like, they're so full of joy. It's so inspiring. It makes me compare our kids and just kids here in general that are, very picky and like demanding and not grateful over millions of things that super entitled. And you're like, dude, they have literally nothing. The orphans actually have it way better off than the villagers. Pretty much all of them have a mattress to sleep on. So that $30 covers food, a roof over your head, staff, security, school, all the tests, like everything is included in that. $30 a month. You're giving someone an actual chance to live. It's crazy. When I heard that number, I was like, wow. Let's do the next one. So here we have one of the mamas that's taking care of her kiddo. And if we can turn it up just to hear a little bit of...
So food is one of the things. It's really hard. Being a single mother.
Okay, I guess it's kind of hard to hear. So she's one of the mamas that we donated a large bag of rice. It's probably going to last her and her... We've had 2 kids, right? I think this one had 2 kids. That's going to last them about 2 months. Rice there is a luxury. They only have rice 2 to 3 times a year. Like here, rice is like the cheapest thing. There, it's literally a luxury. Their normal meal, every day what they eat is dried corn. They crush it, turn it into flour, and cook it with water. Like that's their daily meal, and it's about 4 times as cheap as rice. So we brought her that, and that's like the biggest gift ever. In a second here, it'll show the inside of her house. This is crazy. Just wait till you see how they live.
Thank you so much for the support that you not expect this. It really means so much to her. She's so grateful.
She's just talking about the value of rice there and how it's literally going to bring her life. It brings her hope, especially for them seeing white folks. They call us, what was it? Azungu. Yeah, that's the one. We were like, why are they all the kids are chasing the van? Azungu, Azungu. It means white people.
Yeah. Most of them haven't seen a white person ever in their life, so
it's not the
fun.
best shot, but just take a quick look inside this thing. Like, this is a house. Like, that's it. Dirt floor and roughly 7 by 7. That's a whole house right there for her and her kids.
Yeah, they have no belongings. They just have like a few buckets. Maybe they'll have a mat to sleep on, but that's it. If they're lucky, if they have literally a roof over their head. I know you have one video that will show.
Yeah. So that's the villagers. The orphans, like I said, they have it way better off. They actually have a mattress, they have a mosquito net, and like security, it's much better. Let's go to the next one. This is just a brief glimpse of another mama that takes care of an orphan. That's her house. Like, her whole family lives there. Look at this.
This sweet lady is living in.
We're walking in, and I'm like, what do you mean this is a house? I thought, it's just like a cool spot for kids to hang out. It's like, nope, she lives here. Here's all her stuff. Sunshine, you're burning up. I mean, it is Africa, so in the summer it gets insanely hot. We were there. It's their winter right now, so it's only like mid-70s, upper 70s. It was comfortable. But if it rains down, we asked her, and she's like, I have nowhere to go. I just stay here. Everything is soaked. Kids are soaked, and it is what it is. To build a roof over this house is going to cost roughly $150, and she'll actually have a roof. It seems like not much money, but it literally will change a whole family's life. Actually, we built a house. I don't have any videos of it. Long Arm, Malawi built a house for a homeless boy there. It was $1,500 for a whole house, fully plastered, metal roof, so it's in great shape. And we purchased another house for a homeless elderly.
If you can put up the video with the grandpa.
Is that one that you gave?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is where they found a grandpa and his grandson living last year, literally in a pile of trash with 2 walls, just that really has served no purpose. But they found him laying and sleeping in this trash. So they resolved to buy him a house, and if you see the next picture, it's not a great picture, but it shows the house behind him that actually Image Church purchased for him. And it was
$700.
$700 to buy a house, and it literally changed his life. It was cool to hear from Nelia because she was there last year when they found this man, and comparing it to seeing him this year, she just said that like he had a sense of like dignity. Like his face was lighter, his countenance was like, I have a home. I'm not living in this pile of trash.
Yeah,
so it changed their life completely.
Yeah, he couldn't stop smiling. Like
Yeah.
as soon as he saw us driving by, he had the biggest smile. He was so excited to see like the people that supported him, and it was us right here. We bought him a house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're in the market for a house, they're way cheaper in Malawi, guys. just saying. $700. You got a roof over your head, a few windows. Not bad. All right, let's go to the next video. This is Vika, my sweet cutie pie, just loving on the kiddos. As soon as you if you give a kid a high five, they will all run to you. For them, it's like the most joyful thing that someone saw them, someone is willing to come up to them, and someone is willing to like celebrate them. If you give them a hug, you're getting dirty, like that's it. They're all coming for you. So we were getting ready to go, and Vika gave a hug, and that's it. Game over.
We were leaving, and I let my hair down, and they're like, oh my gosh. Anyways, they couldn't stop touching my hair. But the funny part is they wouldn't, they're so respectful, they won't approach you until you, approach them, and you're like, it's okay, I will hug you, I will give you a high five, and then as soon as they see that, they're just all over you, and it was so sweet. Before we leave this orphanage part, so they're actually in the process, speaking of finances, I know we don't like to hear about it, but they're in the process of building a school for this orphanage and for the village that this orphanage is in. Currently, they have to walk 45 minutes one way to go to a school. And a lot of them will get assaulted, hurt, it rains, they walk. The conditions are just unreal what they have to get to just to go to school. And they want to go to school because education is just the only way out of this. So they are in the process of building a school. And while we were there, we actually had to get to be part of a celebration of the school, and they literally broke ground on the school while we were there. So one thing that I was really just encouraged, inspired by is the fact that they were there in March. There was a small team that was there in March, and they were just talking about the idea. They're like, this is a long-term goal. This is something that would be cool to see maybe in 5 and 10 years from now. Imagine having a school in this village for these kids. And they had come home, and like Stephen said, they became ambassadors of what they saw. And just talking to people without asking for anything, someone came and said, I want to be a part of this. This is for the school. So a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan became something like they're starting right now. And they don't have all the funds to complete the school. They have maybe half of it, not even. But they're starting. They're not waiting until they have the full funds. They're not waiting until let's raise funds for the school and then start. She's like, we have enough for a foundation. We're gonna build a foundation. And God will provide the rest because he provided us the funds to start, to build a foundation. So we're just gonna do it. So if you wanna be a part of literally building a school for this village, that's also something you can be a part of, which
Yeah, we're going to be a part of it.
Yep.
So we're excited. Join us. All right, let's do next video. This is 2 days later, the same house that was being plastered for the babies. We did like, I don't know, 1/100th of the work. And it wasn't much. It was
They
really
work
hard
so
work.
fast. They're so good at it.
Yeah, the locals were crushing it. So they plastered everything. It's literally wrapping up the last wall right here. Next, they'll do the tile, and that's it. That's like a really big, nice house for the babies. So exciting. Let's do the next one. This is the water borehole that the Image Church sponsored.
Yep.
Right here, this is the opening ceremony. It's awesome because they were very strategic with it. They had it installed right by the church building.
At the refugee camp that Stephen was talking about.
Yeah, at the refugee camp where there's like 52,000 people. There's only a handful of water boreholes in that entire refugee camp. And the closest one was broken, and the next closest one was like, it's a long haul. And if you guys just walk around there, the paths are horrible. So this one is right by the church. They're coming to get water, they're coming to drink, and they're coming to get the word of God. And that's Pastor John right there. He is awesome. He's pulling jokes. He's having a good time, and he's like, I love that we did it here. People are coming for like physical life to drink water, and also so they can get Jesus. He's like, this is going to transform so many lives. They'll benefit from this. So this pump got very busy. It got surrounded by so many mamas, so many buckets. Everyone's just like. And when they were digging this hole, because not all the water boreholes are equal. Some of them, the companies that are hired come out, they'll dig as soon as they reach the water, 25 meters deep, they stop, install everything, and they're done. And that water is technically safe to drink, but it still tastes bad. It still has way more bacteria. You need to drill much deeper. So Pastor John personally oversaw it. He stayed there and he forced them to dig deeper.
Yeah, they were like, we're done. He's like, nope, go deeper. Like,
Yep,
we're done. He's like, nope, go deeper. So it's really cool to see. Like he was there. He made sure it's done well.
Yeah, so the one that they didn't dig deep enough, within a few years, it stopped working. It clogged up. So this one, they're estimating it's going to last a long time. So yay, we supported it. It's literally bringing them life. It's so exciting. Let's go to the next one. This video is pretty long. Oh, we were walking around the refugee camp, just strolling around, looking at how people are living, and we hear the sweetest little voices of kids worshiping Jesus, just somewhere off in the distance. And we asked Pastor John, where is this coming from? Who are these people? He's like, oh yeah, it's a friend of mine. Here, follow me. And we come in here. Do you remember his name? I don't remember his name. But we come in there, and it's just a sweet group of kids being led by this amazing gentleman here. And he's just teaching them about Jesus. They're just worshiping together. He's literally doing God's work. I was so encouraged. He's in the middle of nowhere, look at the conditions. And he's just teaching them to love Jesus, teaching them to pray, teaching them to worship, teaching them to be grateful. It was amazing. So if we turn it up, we'll get to hear them sing a little bit.
We are making repetition of songs. This is the Upendo Choir. We are in the church, which is called the Living Hope of a True Christian.
Can we hear your song?
International Cathedral Church.
Can we hear one song?
Your song? Our song?
One song.
Mukutano wetu Baba mbinguni, mukutano wetu Baba mbinguni, ubarikiwe. Ubarikiwe, twaomba. Ubarikiwe, twaomba. Mungu twasalimu, mkutano wetu zaidi ya mtambo kwa wageni wetu.
I was so inspired by this guy. He's there pumping the kids up for Jesus. It was, I don't know, it touched me so much. I love it. I love literally just seeing his face. He's just bringing hope. He's bringing Christ to these kids and much more. Let's go to the next one, please. This is the last one. This is literally just strolling through the refugee camp just to kind of give you a glimpse of normal, everyday life for some of the kids there. They're digging through. There's some valuables there. So anything and everything has value. They'll collect and sell plastic, little sugar canes. There's like businesses, houses. Probably a good 20% of the houses there don't even have a roof, like at all. It's just bare bones, like surviving. I found out that 77 to 82% of the whole country, they're Christians, like they have Christian faith. And it's cool to see so many businesses. It's like grace of God food or glory to God meat, or that's the names of the stores that they have out there. It was really cool to see.
Anyways, I'm just gonna leave you with one thought. Like Steven said, we can't all go, but a lot of us can, and some of us are meant to go, and it will change our life. Perspective definitely changes. The lens that you view things will change. It's impossible that it won't. So some of us will go. Some of us are called to stay and pray. Some of us are called to give. We won't have an opportunity to go, but I think every single person in here is called to love in whatever way that looks like. So we'll be back.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Laurie, come on up. Could we get a mic for Laurie, please? Okay, Laurie's the last one. Please share, what stood out to you on this trip? What were you expecting and it completely blew your mind?
The huge need. When we were passing out presents to the children, toothbrushes, little toys, clothes, we always ran out. There were children who didn't get anything. And that would just, watching that, and it's just like, there's gotta be more. There's gotta be more. So, and then how happy the children and everybody were to see us. They would sing and dance as we came up. They were just so happy because you know why? Because we represented hope. Hope for these beautiful people who are just living in desperate, deplorable conditions, yet they have this joy. This joy. Boy, I just tell you, it just really rattles your world. You know, it does. And we, on the way home, I was in Istanbul and I had an 8.5-hour layover and I was tired. And I said, Lord, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. And it was just like, no, I'm just going to settle in and I'm going to do this, But it's just that seeing all that, we are so privileged, incredibly privileged. But I just want to tell a real quick story, if I can. I was walking through the refugee camp, and we were walking up this long hill. And me being a little bit overweight and my age, I started falling behind. And we got up to the top of the hill, and we had to be surrounded by security guards to keep us safe. And when we got to the top of the hill, one of the security guards came up to me and he says, okay, I've been assigned to make sure that you're okay. And he says, give me your hand. So he took my hand and put it in his, and he walked with me. He just walked with me. We walked hand in hand. And of course, then I just started saying, well, I've got myself a new boyfriend. And he just thought that was so funny. His name was Germanton. And he was so sweet, he wanted to make sure that I was okay, that I was safe. And he says, I'm going to take care of you, Mommy. I'm going to take care of you, Mommy. And then walking down, there was all these ruts, and we're walking through everything. And then the pastor's wife comes along beside me, and she puts her arm around my waist. And I threw my arm around her, and we just had this wonderful time of communion and just fellowship and just loving. They were taking care of me, and I was just loving on them, telling them how wonderful they are. And when we got to the borehole, then we went back to the borehole one more time, and Germanton and another young man I was talking to, and his name was Alex. And Germanton told me, he says, I am a refugee from the Congo. I said, we're at war. We are at war. And Alex, he looked at me and he said, yeah, I'm from the Congo too. So, and I said, oh, well, okay, well, at least you're safe. And they said, yes, we are safe, but we are hungry. So that's basically what I'm going to share today. These young men, they just wanted to help and be kind. These children were so happy to see us. They just wanted their pictures taken with us. They're just so beautiful. Just beautiful children. I see a beautiful children. So anyway, but I do want to challenge you. If I'm going to be 70 my next birthday, so if you can't see it, you can't go. All right. So, yeah.
Well, as we heard all these wonderful testimonies, thank you for sharing. I wanted to share just really briefly, under a minute, I had 3 myths. I'm going to go over one only. And that we believe that sharing Jesus is something you do on a missions trip. And I want to go into the truth. Let's just reframe that a little bit. Sharing Jesus isn't just for a week in another country, it's a lifestyle. My mission begins where God has placed me. And it's wonderful to go on a mission trip like we do, once a year, or we support missionaries in other countries. But I think the most important thing we need to understand that I am on a mission every single day. Because sometimes you talk to people and they're like, okay, one day I'll go to missions, but one day I will do this and this and that. To realize that it could be my family is a mission. It could be my school is a mission today. And by all means, we want to go to the missions, all of us, and do what they just talked about. But also not just waiting that one day, someday, realizing that today, the school where I'm at is my mission field. The circle of friends is my mission field. This is my circle of influence, right? That's my mission field. A lot of times we overlook the areas where God has placed us and gave us influence. And I want to bring that awareness this morning that we want to make sure that we are aware that every single day, every single moment, every single opportunity I am able to use to bring the name of Jesus, the nature of God, to be the hands and feet of Jesus in every circles where we are at. And I want to leave you with the scripture says, you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in Judea and in Samaria and to the ends of the earth. So the Jerusalem is where you wake up every morning. We wake up and we think, oh, that was for them because it just sounds glamorous. Oh, in the Jerusalem and Samaria. But at the end of the day, my Jerusalem could be my home. My Jerusalem could be the friends that are around me. My Jerusalem can be my coworkers. My Jerusalem can be my school, and so on and so on. So realizing, Lord, right where I'm at, maybe I'm not able to go and do what they did, but I can do what God has called me to do today, what God has placed in my hand today. You know, there's a scripture that I live by. In Proverbs it says, whatever your hand can do, do it. And I just kind of live by it. Whatever your hand can do. And so if somebody's asking me for something, I'm wondering, can my hand do it? Yeah. Okay, then it's a yes. if I'm looking at my household and I'm thinking, can I be a little kinder? Can I be a little nicer? Can I represent Jesus to my children? That when they're a little older, they say, you know what? My mama modeled Jesus so beautifully. Her kindness went a long way. Even when she was hungry, she wasn't angry. Oh, you're not laughing. Okay. There's such a thing as hangriness, right? To represent Jesus where we're at. And so that's the most important. That's our mission field. The bottom line, you guys, we are on the mission field every single day. I remind my husband when we drive on the freeway that he's on the mission field, and we're not allowed to put a sticker at the back of our car until we learn to drive a little better. We want to show them that Jesus loves everybody, right? And so let's bring that mission-mindedness, right? Everywhere where we're at, like I represent Jesus. Everywhere I go, every encounter at the store with people around me. How many people I talk to and they always say, but you know, when we talk about, hey, can you do this? Or you know, can you lead this? They always say, but I need to have a little bit more theology. I need to have a little bit more training. I need to have a little bit more equipping. Where at the end of the day, everything goes down to whatever your hand can do, do it. Can you love on people without having too much theology? Yeah. Sometimes we're like, well, you know what? I need to have all of that theology. No. Can we grab a coffee date with somebody and hear them out and see maybe I can be a blessing for them? Can we encourage somebody who is maybe stressed and you can just say, hey, you know, I don't know what's going on, but I see you. And you look a little stressed, and I'm just gonna pray for you. I'm gonna believe that God's gonna lift your countenance. That all of a sudden, you're gonna look up and you're gonna see Jesus in your situation. Can we notice people around us? Yes, we can, and that's our mission field. Come on, church. With that being said, would you just stand on your feet?